Cool. So, hi guys, welcome back. So today we're talking more about some micro-macro questions. We're going to go over some commonly asked questions, find the right answer, explain it, and then go over some of the previous year's answers to make sure that they got it right and they're all in line with what we found. So, that being said, let's just jump right in to that first question. So, the first question says, if expansionary taxation policies encourage growth, are they always appropriate to implement? And answer choice 1 says, yes, the private sector can easily and affordably replace all services and facilities cut by the government. 2, yes, the government will still ensure that individuals and businesses continue to receive all necessary services. 3, no, government services could create inflation, which decreases the purchasing power of consumers. Or 4, no, government services could be reduced and cause serious problems for individuals and businesses. So really quickly, let's first understand what is expansionary taxation policy. And essentially, there's 2 parts to that. Expansionary policy refers to policy taken by the government that is aimed at driving up aggregate demand, right? Increasing consumer spending, increasing investment spending, etc. And so that's the first direction. We're encouraging growth, right? And the second component is taxation. What kind of policy that's involving taxation would lead to that kind of expansion? And the answer to that would be tax cuts, right? If we cut taxes, we're reducing the amount that people have to pay out of their income to the government, and that increases the amount of disposable income, and effectively income has gone up. And when income goes up, we know that spending goes up for normal goods in the economy. Okay, so we now understand what expansionary taxation policy means. Are they always appropriate to implement? And so some of the trade-offs are going to be talked about in some of these answer choices. And one of them is that, yes, reducing taxation increases the amount of disposable income for individuals, but it decreases the amount of budget revenue or amount of money that the government has to pay for government programs. And so there are a lot of things that the government spends money on, anything from welfare or entitlement programs like Social Security or Medicare, Medicaid. Not sure if Social Security actually counts as entitlement, but along those lines of public services. There's investment in roads, education, the military. So a lot of these things require money. And so the question poses, is it always appropriate to implement these types of expansionary taxation policies in order to encourage growth? And the answer is most likely no. To a certain extent, at a certain point, once you decrease taxes by too much, you're going to lose the amount of money necessary to support some of those vital, important services that only the government can provide. And we know that government provides some services because they're public goods, and there's the tragedy of the commons and a reason why the private sector won't replace those goods or the services. So let's go down the line and see which one of these answer choices best fits that explanation. The first 2 answer choices both say yes, it's always appropriate to implement, so we can eliminate those because our answer is that no, there is a point in time where you would want to stop using expansionary taxation policy. 3 says no, government services could create inflation, which decreases the purchasing power of consumers. Again, it's unclear why expansionary taxation policy would directly lead to the type of inflation that would decrease purchasing power of consumers to the extent that it outweighs the increase in their disposable income from paying less in taxes. So we're not really sure about that one. And 4 says no, government services could be reduced and cause serious problems for individuals and businesses. And this seems like a much better answer. Again, it touches on the idea that there are certain services and things that only the government can provide, and if the government lacks the funding to provide those services, it won't be able to provide those benefits. So 4 is going to be the best answer here. Let's move on to a previous tutor's answer. And the previous tutor says 4 as well. And they said the expansionary taxation policy involves a reduction in the tax rate such that the purchasing power of consumers is enhanced, and subsequently aggregate demand in the economy is stimulated, that eventually rescues the economy from recession and the environment of low profitability. Expansionary taxation policy also encourages growth by allowing businesses to keep a larger portion of their profits that can be invested in the economy. However, one major drawback of this fiscal measure is the reduction in revenue receipts that creates a budget deficit and hence increases government debt. This will ultimately lead to a reduction in government services, which may cause serious problems of businesses and individuals. And again, we also want to note that we don't believe the private sector could provide all the services that the government provides because of the tragedy of the commons and public goods, among other reasons. Okay, but otherwise the solution is correct.